So you may be asking yourself, what is hypnosis? Well, hypnosis is a state of pure focus of the senses, nothing more, nothing less. I believe it's all about beliefs. It's all about me just taking you to a place where you can make all the changes that you need to make. The changes aren't made by me, they're made by you. You're going to make all the changes in the moment in your life. So my job is to facilitate this, to get you to a place where you need to be, to make those changes, to cause that new empowering belief. We're going to talk about how we've got two parts of our brain, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. Our left hemisphere deals with our logic, our ABCs, our 1, 2, 3s. Our right hemisphere houses our emotions and our creativity. Emile Coué, a famous scientist, once said, to understand this, if there's a conflict between the logical brain, the left brain, and the right brain, the creative brain, the right brain, the creative side, the emotional side will always outdo the logical brain. The logical brain will always be pushed out of the way for creativity, the emotional side. For example, if you're afraid of spiders, and I come toward you with a spider in my hands like this, and I start to crawl along, your creative brain sees this movement, and your body has a reaction. Your left brain sees that there isn't a spider there, but this movement can still create a reaction in the right brain, because the creative part of your brain makes it real. The logical part of the brain has been kicked out of the way, and the movement causes the imagination to take over. This is how trauma works. It's in the body, and it's multiplied over years of situations. The emotion is in the body, and the emotion always wins. My job is to work on the emotive state and clear that from the body and the amygdala. So in the middle of this left and right brain hemisphere, there's the amygdala. We're going to use this as an example. So this is where fight, fright, freeze lives. Fight, flight, freeze. So when we're scared, we go into either fight or flight, where we start swinging, we run, or we curl up and implode and hope it disappears. Your amygdala is doing this all day. Fight, fight, freeze, fight, fight, freeze, fight, fight, freeze. When the amygdala opens up, the other electrical impulses fire off the peptides, fire off all the senses to preserve and protect us. It's instant. We don't even know we're reacting. We all react. So when the threat goes away, the amygdala should drop back down. And life's intense. We all have situations that teach us things: loss, divorce, bereavement, betrayal, abuse. And these things come in from all sides. And if we don't dispose of the chemicals, these traumas, this is what happens. The amygdala stays open and it's full. It's full of all the fears, the phobias, the traumas that we've not released. If we don't release the pressure, it stays like that. And I find people are completely on edge all the time. And you're seeing that in people. I bet everyone sees that now. So here's another analogy. So life's like a pressure cooker, similar to the amygdala. So here's your pressure cooker, and at the bottom, there's the heat. This is the fight, flight, freeze, as I mentioned a minute ago. You've got the flight, fight, freeze underneath the pressure cooker. You've got the heat of life. The heat of life is changing all the time. So do you know people who love the heat of life? They love when everything's terrible, and they just look for more things to be upset about. So you've got that, and then you've got people that just want to get on with things and want life to be good. So underneath, you've got this heat of life. You got the flight, fight, freeze. Then you've got the pot. And as you go through life, these things happen. And they build and build and build and build and build and build and build until eventually it comes to a point where people just go bang. And that's where I assert that the post-trauma sits. Of course, I've simplified it, but that's a way of explaining. Just seems to make sense to most people. So in this pressure cooker, it builds and builds and builds. And my job is to find the valve within the person and go pshh, and bring the pressure down. I believe we only deal in perceptions. What I mean by that is the perceptual value of the way we're looking at things. When I'm working with trauma, I never delete what went on, irrespective of how vile it was or how bad it was. We don't delete the memory. That would be dangerous. So what we do is we change the perceptual value of it. We change the energy surrounding it. So you can see what's happened, but there's a bit of distance. So you're no longer charged by the feelings, the smell, the taste. You can't hear all the scary sounds that were so loud surrounding the issue. So the way I look at it is there's somebody standing in the middle of a bonfire. And my job is to pick them up, pull them out, and set them down over here and say, look at the bonfire from the outside. It's very simple. We just reframe it. Instead of them being in the bonfire getting torched, I pull them out and say, watch that. Watch it from a distance. And as time progresses, time's a great healer, they've slowly moved away so they can really see it as a flickering light in the distance. All the processes most people use to change our programming that was put in place by our caregivers, primarily by our parents, is trying to create an impact conscious change. But the programming that has the virus is in the subconscious. Like 70% of our downloads are negative. Not intentionally, but it's just that our parents weren't taught how to parent. So they parent us the way they were parented, and we go out and continue to parent ourselves the way we were parented. So ultimately, the parent's job is to esteem the child, so the child learns how to esteem themselves and can go out into the world, with a healthy self-esteem. Because children, when we're little, we don't have a prefrontal cortex. We can't reason. They just feel. And until that critical filter is developed around 6 or 8, 9 years old, they don't have logic. They don't have emotional mastery until we grow up. So we can't process those difficult emotions. And when we don't have healthy self-esteem, what happens is the child grows into an adult without the proper self-esteem, often becoming codependent, where others' opinions of them are more important than their own opinion of themselves, among a huge list of other self-sabotaging behaviors that we aren't even aware of, or sabotaging our relationships, romantic, work, whatever, any kind of relationship with ourselves. We're lying to ourselves so much of the time. You can research the symptoms of codependence at codependenceanonymous.org. We become people pleasers, and sometimes the survival skills we needed as children turn into a character defect as an adult, and we have a rough time handling conflict and communication. And this results in a lot of drama from unresolved trauma that stays in the body. We're typically running on autopilot as adults, and 95% of the time, we stay in that subconscious programming. Well, the body can only take so much, and the pressure cooker reaches the max. The body has a reaction without us. It shows up as illness or anxiety. The body hits critical mass, and we make ourselves sick, literally sick, or worse. I can help you relieve some of that pressure by letting out some steam and giving you some distance between you and the bonfire. So if you're tired of always being on fire, give me a call and let's change that.